Good morning, Ali here, and I'm going to be looking today at Romans 7, verses 7 to 25. And what a passage this is. I don't know about you, but when I was reading this, I had to read it again and again and again to try and understand it because I find it quite confusing. And this was mostly because of Paul's use of I and because of the shift from the past to the present tense. So some of the things are a bit ambiguous, but unclear as to who or what he's referring to. So you might have a different understanding than me. But chapter 7 examines the purpose of the law, the commandments given to the Jews, and argues that although these commandments in themselves are holy and given by a holy God, intended to bring life, the fallen, sinful state of mankind has actually resulted in the law bringing only death. So sin is powerful and evil is real. Let's not underestimate this. Language in this passage used to talk about sin. If you just have a look at verse 8 and 11, for example, where sin is shown as seizing the opportunity afforded by the commandment, the law. And from that, producing in me every kind of covetous desire. Talking about sin deceiving me and putting me to death. Verse 9, talking about sin springing to life and I died. Talking about the idea of being sold as a slave to sin and wanting to do good, but evil being right there with me. So it's full of the power of sin. Sin is powerful and evil is real, and we need to be aware of that in our prayers for ourselves, for our children and other people. In verses 15 to 20, Paul shows the struggle the Jewish people had with a set of rules. Even though they had the law and wanted to follow it, they couldn't because of the sin living in them. I believe he's using the I here to identify with non-Christian Jews, as he was before his conversion. The image is one of a victim, torn and aware of his own state of falling so short of what the law required of him, aware of what the moral code was, but unable to attain it. In fact, the very awareness of the commandments seems to be like a red rag to a bull, to coin a phrase. It's almost as if awareness of God's law sent sin into overdrive, into a state of hyperactivity. The law was good, but didn't bring the life intended because of the power of sin within. The frustration experienced by someone who wants to follow a moral code, whether Jew or non-Jew, is personified by Paul, who exclaims of this state in verse 24, "What a wretched man I am, helpless and convicted of sin." I've been there. We've all been there. Awareness of our own bondage to sin and our inability to live holy lives brings only frustration, condemnation, despair, and a kind of death if we are just left there without any rescue plan, left to wallow in our own guilt and despair without hope or escape. When reading this, my heart was stirred, thinking about the desperate millions, perhaps billions out there who are in this very state, having a set of moral rules, but aware of their inability to measure up and aware of the implications of them not measuring up. Thinking about the rates of depression, suicides, anxiety levels going through the roof because people are not aware that there is indeed a rescuer and there is an answer to the cry, "Who will rescue me from this body of death?" Well, the good news is, read verse 25, there is somebody who will rescue us. And that's very good news. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.